Alright guys, so this is a video that I felt like I had to do because a lot of boxing fans who are basically boxing fans of Billy Joe Saunders act as if Billy Joe Saunders is avoided, act as if other top fighters are avoiding him. And yes, I'm talking about guys like Sporting Icon, a guy that I'm subscribed to, a guy that I watch. I don't agree with him when it comes to this whole subject. He seems to be under the impression that guys like Gennady Golovkin and maybe other top fighters, I can't be too sure because I haven't been watching all his videos when he does concerning Billy Joe Saunders, but he seems to have the impression that top guys are basically ducking and avoiding Billy Joe Saunders. That's something I totally disagree with. Billy Joe Saunders, in my opinion, is the weakest out of all the middleweight champions. The guy has feather-fisted punching power. Nobody's going to be afraid of a guy with feather-fisted punching power. Billy Joe Saunders, the thing about Billy Joe Saunders that people need to understand with me is I don't respect fighters who don't have a stacked resume. I've said this several times on my channel, and my original channel too, my McGregor channel. That's why I don't respect Wilder, and that's why I clown Wilder. When I look at Billy Joe Saunders' resume, I'm not too impressed. Billy Joe Saunders became a champion 2 years ago, and he's fought like twice. He defended his belt once against a bum I never heard of, and he recently defended his belt against Willie Monroe Jr. Now, his best victory in his entire resume, you could say, was Chris Eubank Jr., but that's a very questionable victory considering the fact that Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't done anything in his career. At the time, Chris Eubank Jr. was a novice, and it's been 3 years since he's beaten Chris Eubank Jr., but what has Chris Eubank Jr. done in 3 years? He beat a washed-up Arthur Abraham. Now, if Chris Eubank Jr. goes on to win the World Series and, beat guys like George Groves and become the unified champion at 168, then that's different. I'll be like, okay, he beat Chris Eubank Jr. I'll give him more credit. But as of right now, Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't done anything in his career for me to classify that as a massive victory for Billy Joe Saunders. My biggest criticism with Billy Joe Saunders is not the fact that he's not a puncher. No. That to me is kind of a downside because I like punchers. It's also not the fact that he's not an aggressive fighter, because when it comes to me, I like aggressive fighters. Billy Joe Saunders is a very safety first type of fighter. He's a kind of dull fighter to watch. I'm just being real. But my biggest criticism of him is he's not fighting top guys. He's not fighting top guys. I see him calling out guys. I see him saying stuff about Danny Jacobs. I see him saying stuff about Gennady Golovkin. I see him saying stuff about Canelo Alvarez. I see him saying stuff about David Lemieux, but I don't see him fighting them. And my whole thing is, you can talk all you want, but if you don't fight them, I'm not going to give you credit. I don't give a damn. I see they're trying to negotiate him a fight with David Lemieux. If that fight actually happens, that'll be a good step in the right direction for Billy Joe Saunders. And if he manages to beat David Lemieux, maybe I could finally start showing him some respect. But he's not. But if he doesn't fight him, I'm not going to show him respect. I'm just sick and tired of watching this guy fight guys I never heard of or guys that are low ranked. He can. Do I think he could beat Gennady Golovkin? No. I think Gennady Golovkin walks right through him, breaks him down. Now, one thing we have to keep in mind with guys like Sporting Icon, good channel, but Sporting Icon is friends with a lot of these fighters. Sporting Icon, for example, he does interviews with guys like Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know if he's done an interview with Billy Joe Saunders. I know they've spoken because I've seen him show a clip of Billy Joe Saunders shout him out. He also, I know he's done an interview with guys like Dillian White because I've seen that interview. So when it comes to Sporting Icon, he's friends with a lot of these fighters, so I think he feels obligated to be very complimentary toward these fighters. I think the reason he's very, because you could tell at times he gets a little biased when it comes to guys like Billy Joe Saunders and Dillian White, and I think the reason he's biased towards them is because he's friends with them. So because he's friends with them, he's going to be biased towards them. It's natural. If you talk to someone and if they're a boxer, you're going to be biased towards them, and you're going to act like they're doing nothing wrong, and everything that they do is right, and you're going to act like they could beat all the fighters in their division. You're going to act this way because you're friends with them and you want to, in a sense, kiss their ass and be nice to them. So I think that's what Sporting Icon does, because when I see Sporting Icon's channel, he's a realist channel, you know. That's what I like about his channel. He criticizes other fighters like Wilder. He criticizes other fighters. But when it comes to guys like Billy Joe Saunders and Dillian White, guys that he's cool with, guys that he's phoned and he's interviewed, he's a little biased towards those guys. And he always acts like they're not doing anything wrong. And you could tell it's obvious. But again, I understand it. Sporting Icon, you're their friends. You're mates with them. Maybe you don't want to... and they watch your videos. Dillian White watches your videos. Billy Joe Saunders watches your videos. So maybe you don't want to offend them. Maybe you feel like if you criticize Dillian White and you act like Dillian White isn't ducking Jarrell Big Baby Miller, maybe Dillian White will be mad at you and he wouldn't talk to you and be like, yo, give me an interview. Maybe you feel like if you made a video criticizing Billy Joe Saunders, maybe you feel like Billy Joe Saunders would be like, you know what, I'm not going to do an interview with you anymore, Sporting Icon. I get it. But here's the thing with me. I don't have this problem, Sporting Icon, because I don't interview fighters. I'm not cool with any fighters. So that's why I could come on here and criticize every fighter. Even fighters that I like Jarrell Big Baby Miller, like Anthony Joshua, like Errol Spence Jr. I like these fighters, but I could criticize them because I don't feel obligated to talk highly about them because they know my channel, or, you know, I've interviewed them in the past and I don't want to offend them and I want to keep interviewing them. So I don't have that problem. And I think that's the only reason why Sporting Icon is kind of biased towards these guys, is because he feels obligated to be friendly with them because they've given him an interview. Like I said, I'm not knocking him on that. I still like his channel. By the way, Billy Joe Saunders kind of looks like Canelo Alvarez in this picture, especially with this pink. But yeah, my whole thing is with Billy Joe Saunders, and with any fighter, you want me to give them respect as a fighter, or show them some, you know, respect. They got to fight top guys. That's why I've made videos praising guys like Ward. I've made videos praising guys like Terrence Crawford, because they fought top guys. I've even made videos giving Gennady Golovkin credit and Vasily Lomachenko because they fought top guys. I've made videos defending guys like Vasily Lomachenko. I make videos defending guys that are actually fighting top guys. And I make videos disrespecting and making fun of guys that fight shit fighters. I've made fun of guys like Billy Joe Saunders in my other channel in the past because of this very reason. He talks all this shit, but he doesn't fight top guys. You guys already know I've been made fun of guys like Deontay Wilder. I've made fun of guys like Adrian Broner. If you look at my track record, I only make fun of guys that have shitty records. I never make fun of guys that have good records. Or I also make fun of guys that are boring and they're like, for example, guys like Hughie Fury. I think he's boring. Guys like Harrison Laura, I think he's boring. But I always give credit. I'm not one of those guys that do not give credit to guys that fight top guys. I always give credit to top guys. I just make fun of guys that aren't fighting the best. When it comes to Billy Joe Saunders, I feel like he's not fighting the best. I feel like he's not challenging himself. This guy's been a champion for 2 years. He should at least have a top 10 heavyweight. Excuse me. I'm thinking about Wilder, man. He should at least have a top 10 middleweight in his resume. You know, people want to talk about Gennady Golovkin's level of opposition, but this guy has fought David Lemieux, Danny Jacobs, and Canelo Alvarez. So this guy, in terms of resume, has a way better resume than someone like Billy Joe Saunders. Danny Jacobs has a better resume than Billy Joe Saunders because he's fought guys like Peter Quillen and what's his name, Gennady Golovkin. And he was willing to fight Canelo Alvarez, so I think his resume is better. And again, to me, that's an interesting fight. Danny Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know how that fight goes. But when it comes to Gennady Golovkin, I think Gennady Golovkin walks right through him. Billy Joe Saunders' biggest problem at world level is going to be the fact that he doesn't have punching power. That's going to be his biggest downfall, in my opinion. We just haven't seen that yet because he hasn't been fighting no top guys. Again, the best guys in his entire resume is, you could say, Andy Lee, who, let's be real, he's a top 30 middleweight at best. He was never really that good to begin with. And Chris Eubank Jr., who, like I said, was a novice when he fought Billy Joe Saunders. And we don't know how good this guy really is. Maybe Chris Eubank Jr. goes on to lose every fight every time he moves up in world level. But like I said, I still don't know. That's a questionable win because I don't know. Maybe he might go on to be top guys. But again, he hasn't really been fighting top guys himself, Eubank Jr. So who knows? What if he goes on to fight other top guys at super middleweight and he loses every time he fights top guys at super middleweight? Then that would just prove to me that he was really never that good. So how credible would that win victory over Eubank Jr. be for Billy Joe Saunders at that point? But again, I'm not really being too harsh on that victory because I don't know how good Gennady Chris Eubank Jr. is he has to first keep fighting. I have to see him fight top guys. Like that's I also criticize Chris Eubank Jr. by the way, because I also think he's a guy who's been fighting a lot of easy fights. I want to see him in there against a top super middleweight. I always felt like Chris Eubank Jr. avoided Gennady Golovkin because he used to fight at middleweight, then he moved up to 168. I think he's a ducker for doing that. But yeah, that's a lot to say. Billy Joe Saunders has to fight a top guy for me to give him credit, and that's a lot to say. McGregor, I'm out. Please subscribe, and that's it. See you guys next time.